Welcome in. It is the Sunday slate. Now, I know there's a bunch of other shit going on here, but we care about this NBA slate so much that Eric Lindquist took off and said, all right, kid, you go ahead. You take this one here. Look, we appreciate you rolling with us big time, all right? It's a 7-day-a-week process, so I'll take the weekend. Lindy's got you during the week. We always ask the same thing, right? You're probably tired of hearing that, but look, it helps us to hit the thumbs up button. And also, if you're new to the 50,000. So there are 50,000 people out there that I need to thank first before I ask new people to hit the thumbs up. That's really the drill right now. That's the new thing here. Like, how can I forget and overlook the fact that we have 50,000 plus now here before I start welcoming in and asking in and bringing in the new folks, all right? The day oneers, as we say. Now, let's turn $5 into $200 on DraftKings. Let's dive into the slate. We got a lot of stuff to do, and it's going to start right now. Speaking of which, $5 into $200. Now, you must be 21 or older. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. But maybe you're in a state that's new to sports betting, whatever it may be. Maybe you're just not on DraftKings. That's okay. That's fine. You can change that right now. And here is the beauty of it. You don't even need to wait for a game to start. All right, take 90 seconds out of your life immediately. Click this link below. It's going to bring you to DraftKings. Sign up, deposit $5 and only $5. Then immediately place that $5 on the Buffalo Bills. Doesn't matter what the spread is. It could be 17 points. It could be 24 points. Whatever it is, place that $5 on the Bills immediately. Don't wait for tomorrow. None of that. 5 on the Bills. Because as soon as you place that $5, 200 right back into your account. Right back into your account. It's an easy, simple process. That's why we want this for you. A bankroll. Now, let us begin, shall we? First game, it's an early one. We know that. Knicks right here. All right, let's look at the Knicks. Let's look at the New York Knickerbockers on the road against the Detroit Pistons with that line hovering at that key number of 7. So you have to ask yourself right now, mid to end January, this is a new phase of the schedule, right before we hit that all-star break. Is a team good enough to overlook? That's first and foremost. Then you have to look at, like, okay, if you're unsure what's going on with that team. First off, I don't think the Knicks are good enough to overlook right now. I think the Knicks are still dealing with some positive momentum. And we also saw the return of RJ Barrett. Now, it helped us on the 5-5 as far as fading Julius Randle. But we also know the Knicks, look, Sixers, Cavs, there are teams above them beyond just the Celtics and the Nets they need to keep up with. This game, what's happened in the past is simply overlooking a team like Detroit, similar to Orlando. You know, a tough squad at home where you get 7 to 8 points where you have to overcome. All of a sudden, it's a little more difficult. Like the Knicks, though, in this spot. So we're going to open up with a lean. Anything 7 or less with that key number, right or less than that, I'm okay with the Knicks here. Again, on the road hasn't been their specialty per se, but they're still above 500. And they're able to get by for the most part in this game. And I also think, most important, that they cover this game. Rockets, Clippers. Now, the Clippers are just hovering around this full squad, but they just can't get it. The Houston Rockets are full or not. They're just not a good basketball team. And there's nothing new or earth-shattering or groundbreaking with that. So what are we getting with the worst team in basketball right now? The 10-win Houston Rockets right now. Are we getting competitive ball? Are we getting anything that would point to the fact that they could cover a spread? No. But we're also not getting scoring. And that's the other part of this. This isn't your grandparents' Houston Rockets, right? This isn't your father's Houston Rockets. They're not even scoring 110 points per game. They're barely scoring 109 points per game. So remember, they used to be up and down, up and down. They'd give up 130, but at least they'd score a lot of points. That's not happening. Defensively, they are giving up points, but I don't know if the Clippers are willing to accept that challenge. Clippers are fine putting the two hands Hitman style video game on somebody and just like squeezing. And that's what you're going to get in this game. That's why I would lean under in this game. I don't want to tempt anything. I mean, yeah, it's either under or the Clippers, but even still, you know, LA's got a little Brandon Staley in them. And I don't mean, you know, the Chargers standpoint. It's just the fact that you can make a mistake. and you can make a couple of mistakes. And then you're looking around like, what the fuck happened? How did this team get back in this game? I think the under is the best play throughout when we're looking at the quadrants here, sides and totals, especially because the Rockets they're not scoring. Let's move on. Speaking of under, this is our top play of the night. You can lock it up like the Law and Order sound. I don't know. It's a gavel, but it never sounded like a gavel. It sounded like a lock to me. Go back and listen to that Law and Order sound. It sounds like something's locking more so than it doesn't sound like a gavel. You ever hear a gavel? You ever been in court? You probably have. I know you've been in court, right? You remember what a gavel sounds like. All right, we're going to go under Warriors Bulls. Warriors are like the road version of what the Knicks are overall. Like the road Warriors. I can't believe I just said that, but the road team, the Warriors on the road, is that a better way to say it? Probably. The Warriors on the road, I don't want you thinking Mad Max here or some shit, especially not any new Mad Max. But the Warriors on the road still can't afford to overlook anybody. Steph is back, that's fine, but this isn't like Steph was out for a little bit, so this isn't like sit guys and pull back. I don't think you have to worry about that so much in this road trip, specifically against the Bulls. It's not like we saw this team in action, especially on Saturday, so you didn't have to worry about that. You got the night off. Look, I think from a who wins standpoint, if you're just looking at this game overall and minus the spread, Golden State still has a little they need to prove to themselves. Chicago, on the other hand, is just, they're a tough team to figure out. They cannot establish any type of home court, and I think Golden State comes in here and wins the game. Spread aside, I think that's done by limiting Chicago to scoring. Oh, well, come on, man. What are you, pulling a booger on me? The team that scores more points is going to win the game. No, what I'm saying is that Golden State is going to once again apply the two hands, the hitman status here. It's just so much easier to do that and win a game on the road in Chicago where you're not dealing with any home court advantage and you're really not dealing with any offensive explosion. Let Zach LaVine drop 50 on you. You'll be fine. You could still hold a team to 92 points. And that's why we go under. That's why we go under heavy. I don't think Golden State's interested in putting up $150. I think Golden State's just interested in winning games on the road. And that comes with defense this stretch of the season. And that's what I'm going to rely on here. Keep it moving. We'll go to a favorite now. The Brooklyn Nets hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder. This one's tight. We know because of Kevin Durant's injury status. Here come the Thunder, who are just a little bit better than advertised. I don't see it, though, because, again, when you're dealing with record or you're dealing with injury, you're trying to figure out if a team is good enough right now to overlook. And because Kevin, like normally with Durant, Irving, let's be fair, this is probably an 8.5, maybe 9-point line. 7.5, that's bet up. I don't know, something around that area, but it's going to be bet up. You better believe it. So what do we have here? I think the biggest thing is Kyrie and this Nets team healthy, which is basically everybody but Kevin Durant, is still not in a position where they're overlooking. Are they bad enough on any given night to lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder outright? Probably on any given night, but I wouldn't bet that money line at home. What I would do, though, is look at where they're being shorted and why. And it's clear because of Kevin Durant. Now, the other side of this equation is that the Oklahoma City Thunder are better than the normal, typical dreck that they hang with, right? They went away for a summer camp. They came back. They're a little more mature. And I think that's fine. They're led by some pretty deadly scoring tandems there. And at times, it's just one guy in SGA. But this is where I just don't think that with Kyrie on, SGA, similar to LaVine, as we just talked about, you're going to get you 35 SGA. That's fine. You're not getting anything else. And that's where Brooklyn covers this line. And that's why we're good with Brooklyn covering the 5. Let's hit another key number. This one is 7. Spurs at home. Again, we're going to factor in this when we're playing it, at least. You can hit us up in the chat as always. Kings, though, coming in here, I'm going to take the Spurs +7. No big knock, I think, on Sacramento. We just saw Sabonis kind of go off there. But, you know, I'm concerned a little bit with Sacramento and their injury status. I'm also concerned a little bit with their inconsistencies. I don't necessarily, it's clear, like Kevin Huerter out, that's going to hurt you from a shooting standpoint. But now you're even more reliant on the three, and you're even less able, I think, to overcome inconsistencies from behind the arc. Does that mean that you lose this game to the Spurs? Of course not. I'm not even intimating that. What I am saying, though, is I'm not taking this road team laying 7, which is a key number in this league, simply because they're better than the home team. And that's essentially what you're being asked to do. I don't see that. I think San Antonio, especially from a defensive standpoint, is going to be able to find a way to cause some chaos on the perimeter. They do have a couple of scorers that can make this game tight and interesting for Sacramento. So this is not a given. This is not a handed W over by any means. Look, I think the Kings are still a decent to good basketball team on most nights. But with Huerter out, who's not the end-all be-all by any means, right? But he's a shooter, and he's a prime shooter. And when you're down a prime shooter, slack falls on other guys who may not be used to either shooting in general or prime shooting, meaning volume shooting. Spurs, they know exactly who they are. They're a bad basketball team. That doesn't change night in and night out. But every now and again, you get an opportunity. Every now and again, you get an opening. I think tonight's an opening. I think Sunday there's an opening for not yours, not mine, the collective San Antonio Spurs. Unless you're just fading me and you want the Kings, well, then fuck you. Let's keep it moving. So we go from the Spurs to the Nuggets. Now, this line would indicate that Nikola Jokic is back in business after taking that night off. With that said, and we'll keep an eye on Jamal Murray. That's the bigger one here. He's not missing time in Jokic. Jamal Murray is expected to play. He was listed on the injury report. He's expected to play. Look, if Jokic, and I'm going to just break this down super simple for me. Okay, I don't know why I'm looking and pointing this way, and I have no idea what's going on here, but it was just force of habit. Who knows? I don't even know why that would be a habit, to have it force of habit, but it's happening. If Jokic doesn't sit out the last game, we're taking a total in this game. I think it's easier to play a total. You look at these two teams, you look at Orlando coming into town, and it's not easy right here in this league to play against a squad like Denver when they're mostly healthy. You're traveling in there, and it's a double-digit line. And Orlando has done its due. Really, it's done a good job. I'll stop there. Orlando's done a good job this year at being able to cover, and especially that 7.5 to 10-point range, because for the most part they're being overlooked. This one, though, I think Jokic coming back, there's a statement that's going to be made. Look, 10 points is a difficult number in general to cover in this league. I get it, unless you're blowing somebody out. I think in this case, Jokic comes back. Murray is back. This is truly a matter of let's just get this game over with. It's different, right? It's a little different beforehand when Jokic is playing last game. And you don't have to worry so much about just getting him back into this, even though he only missed a game. And that's why you use this as a tune-up. There's no tune-up if Jokic plays last game. This is a tune-up, and unfortunately, Orlando is going to be tuned up. Hey, it's the nature of it. Mavs, Blazers. Did we just see this? I had to refresh to make sure that I was on the same page. Didn't we just see this? We just saw this game on Saturday night. I don't think you can take anything at all away from it. I wouldn't. It's the same. It's like a playoff series. Seriously, it doesn't matter. And it's on top of that, it's not even a playoff series because it's the regular season. So if you want to do this and just completely fade the opposite of what you saw on Saturday night with these two teams playing in the same arena in a back-to-back, go ahead, because it's likely to change. I think if you're locking something in ahead of time, as we do here, there's going to be a lot of points. Right? That's what I don't think changes. These two teams are pacing themselves on Saturday. So even if you got the over on Saturday, I think you see even more points on Sunday. Back-to-back aside, it's a really unique circumstance where the back-to-back is coming same game, same team, same arena. I mean, it's the same thing. You're getting the same exact thing packaged the next day. That's where I think you can slide in some value and look at from just this big picture. These two teams recognizing what they have here and knowing that they're not going to knock anybody out in the first round. All right, man, we're going to spar. We're going to go back and forth. I'm going to pick my spots in the 7th, 8th round. That's when I can wear you down and do that. Look, if Portland or Dallas is approaching it this way, it's going to come out in scoring way more than anything else in that second game. It's one thing to look at it how we did tonight, but from a scoring standpoint, that's where it's going to change. That's where it's going to shift, and that's where I am on with the over. All right? By the way, we locked that Nuggets game. I don't know if I said that, but we locked that minus. Over Mavs Blazers is a lead. Last game, we're going to lean on the Lakers. Sixers on the road right now, on the road again, and no Tobias Harris. I actually think it hurts them more against the Lakers without Tobias Harris, who is just so inconsistent in general. It's going to be a little more difficult to run that three-guard set. You're going to lose some height. I like the Lakers in this game. Lakers had some time off. Russell Westbrook off the bench is going to be interesting to see what the Sixers do there. They struggle with these ISO guys. I mean, it could be a big night for Westbrook. It's crazy, right? It could be a big night for a couple of people that you're not expecting because everybody's expecting it to be Joel Embiid and LeBron James. I don't think that's going to be the case either. Everybody's on the injury report. We know that. LeBron. Patrick Beverley is going to be, I think, the big one. You get defensive presence there. Maybe that slows down some facilitation, even some scoring in the backcourt. That's going to be huge. It's going to be a combination of Tyrese Maxey and James Harden. Not worried about the Anthony Melton taking advantage of anything there on the wing with the Lakers. I think more so it's a matter of how does Philadelphia slow down a couple of big ISO guys? One that starts and another guy coming off the bench. Forget Anthony Davis. That's not relevant here. What is a couple of guys who can get to the basket and get on the line. And that's going to be a problem for the Philadelphia 76ers. All right. So we'll lean Lakers on the spread. You can hit me up in the chat. Whatever happens, whatever changes, let me know your own likes, your own lean. I don't know what I was going to say. Your own leans, your own locks. We'll take it all. We'll take anything you can. So long as YouTube accepts it, it's fine with me. I don't give a shit. Thank you. Thumbs up, subscribe. Why don't you take advantage of that whole thing at DraftKings? Remember, all you need to do is bet. Sign up immediately, deposit $5, and bet the Buffalo Bills. And guess what? As soon as you place that wager, $200 right back into your account. That's pretty damn cool, huh? Did you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, you freeloader? $50K.